Hey everyone, welcome to the real Ninja Village, the Shadow Village. Just kidding OJ, I love you. So, I wanted to do a tag video today. Create my own tag video. Make this shit go viral. It won't. I'm gonna tag 3 people and I'm pretty sure I don't even expect everybody to actually do this. But I still thought this was an interesting video and I was hoping to see other people do this too. These are my top 10 most played obscure video games. So random ass games that I just played to death throughout my life. Gotta keep the death into it. Shadow Village! Ooh. What I wanted to do is, there's some rules to this. For example, I have to own the game. I wanted to put the Cartoon Workshop in there. I think that's what it was called. The Tiny Toons Cartoon Workshop on the original NES. Where you could make your own cartoons. I did that for hours as a kid. But it was my brother's game. I don't own it. Number 2. It can't have been or be in a future top 10 video of mine. For example, the New Zealand story is a game I wanted to add to this list. But I have it in a really old video of mine. I consider it to be one of the top 10 hardest games there is. So that can't be on the list. Another game, for example, Pilot Wings on the N64. Played it to death. It's not super well known. Nintendo kinda killed off Pilot Wings, but my boy clocked it. He often mentions this game. I've talked about it as well here and there, so it's out. Then we have games that have quite a resurgence in popularity. So I don't want to count those either, because I want them to be kind of obscure. Blaster Master, for example, on the original NES. I played this game to death. As a kid, I never beat it, and I tried so hard throughout my life. But Blaster Master had a resurgence, it came out, it was remastered, it got a sequel, so I can't use that. Same as SimCity, where it hasn't had much of a resurgence, but it's quite a popular game, so I wouldn't really consider it to be a dead franchise. Maybe in your opinion, some of the games I will mention actually fall under these rules. I don't know. It's a loose play, we can do what we want. I just wanted to talk about games that I don't hear other people talk about a lot, and that I myself don't talk about a lot, to make this random ass top 10 obscure video games I played to death. And I'm making this into a top 10 because in general, people really like top 10s. Just a slight note, I make this a top 10, it's not from worst game to best game. I don't put the best game in front and the worst game last. There's a balance in my grading with both and how good the game is, but also with how much time I put into it. And all of that affects it. It is more important how much time I put into it than the actual quality of the game. On 10th place, we have The New Adventures of Pac-Man 2. Hello Pac-Man, it's the same game.
Look.
As a kid, we used to have a copy box for the Super Nintendo. There was a game on there, Hello Pac-Man. It was in Japanese. I could barely understand it. I bought a Japanese version a while back already on the Super Famicom, so I could play it again. I didn't know that game existed in PAL territories as well. So I bought a real version. I found this on a flea market at some point, named, what was it again? Pac-Man 2 The New Adventures. It's a weird ass game. You play as a spectator to Pac-Man's life. You control him with a catapult. You shoot pellets at stuff and he will inspect these things. You can shoot out a super pellet, you can perform certain actions, and you basically go on an adventure with him. It's a really weird game. And I came really far in this game, even though it was the Japanese version back then. And I don't know, it's so, you don't hear, half the world doesn't even know this game exists. But I played it so much, I got so far in this game, and I never really tried to finish it yet, ever since I owned the real version, the imported version, the European one. And I definitely should get back to this, because it's such a nostalgia factor for me. The sound effects, the things you can do, the stuff Pac-Man does, the way he interacts with the environments, it is really weird. Next up, a game on the Gamecube. Smuggler's Run. I think it's a multiplat. It's really damn weird. To me, this was the very first game ever where I saw actual people acting in a role.
Who the hell are you?
Mr. Luger, I've heard much about you.
Where's the colonel?
Yes, the Colonel thought it would be best if I met with you initially, just to make the proper arrangements.
The message was clear. If the colonel wants anything, he meets me personally. Not send some errand boy.
Thank you very much. That was the Colonel's intention. However, the present climate has forced the Colonel to remain in Russia.
Fine. Get on with it.
Not digitized, weird-ass 3D models, real people acting. It was corny as shit. Some kind of plot about illegal money. Well, as a kid, I remember seeing the money in this game. I was like, oh my god, this is like real crime shit. But the game itself is rather simple. You have somewhat of a giant map, and you get missions. You have to collect a package or deliver a package. Collect the package before the opponent does. It's kind of stuff like that. You ride on like quads and jeeps, and I always like these vehicle kind of games that aren't racing. A Smuggler's Run, I put countless and countless of hours in it, even in multiplayer with my younger brother. We played this so much, and all the races and so much. This game is just so much fun, but it's not super good. You can't do that much in it, and it's pretty freaking obscure to me. Number 8. Worms 3D. Worms is actually a game that, like Mario, Zelda, Metroid, it transferred quite well into 3D. I like Worms 3D, it works.
Damage report.
You could, just like the 2D Worm games, you could generate maps, and you had maps that the game provided. It was just so much fun. There's different themes, horror themes. There weren't a lot of customization options for your worms. But every time my cousin would come over, we would jack this in. With my neighbor, we would jack this in. It is so much fun, and it works. Worms in 3D, it just works. It's fun, it takes getting used to, and I played this game to death. Number 7. Captain America and the Avengers on the original NES. I never read comic books as a kid. No, let me rephrase that. I never read DC or Marvel. In Europe, that just wasn't a big thing in the 80s and in the 90s. I read European comic books like Kufje. I don't know what you call it in English. Tintin, I guess you guys call it. Asterix and Obelix, a lot of stuff like that. European comic books. There were a lot of comic books like The Red Knight, extremely awesome dark shit with demons. There was a lot of stuff. But I didn't read no Marvel or DC. This was my first contact with Captain America, with Iron Man. I didn't know any of this stuff. This game is actually a lot of fun. It's really addictive. You play with Captain America, it's a 2D side-scroller, semi-beat 'em up. but you had a lot of moves with your shield. You could jump in the air, spin, put your shield below you, land on the water, which was so awesome. You could throw your shield, use your shield to collect items. You could slide forward on your knees, bashing people with your shield. There was so many cool moves that I could never stop playing it. It was so diverse when it came, especially on the NES, you know. It was very diverse with the moveset. So you would play with Hawkeye. Hawkeye was boring as fuck. Just like yesterday, but still, this was addictive. And this game had something I never really saw a lot back then. It had a 2D fighting mode, where you could play with Iron Man and Vision, I think, and some of the villains in the game, which was really weird and surreal to me. A 2D fighting game on the original NES. But I love this game. I love it. I still love it today, and I can still have so much fun playing it today. I love the music, the sound effects, the game looked really good. And I played it non-stop. Probably one of my most played NES games, to be honest, because I killed this game with how much I played it. Number 6. Front Mission. Front Mission. On the copy box again. Japanese imported. I had to own this game, so I bought it. Front Mission by Square. Look at the fucking artwork from Amino. Amino is a goddamn god. I love this game. I finished this game multiple times. Imported. I didn't understand a single word from any of the conversation. And this game is text heavy. It's text heavy. Before the missions, after the missions, during the missions, in the intermissions where you create your mech. And I love that. You could create your mech, customize it, customize the colors, give him like a gun arm on one, a bazooka, a rocket arm on the other, change the head, the legs. You could create your own mechs. That is one thing I really liked about this. And the sound effects on this game are god tier. I love Front Mission. I still feel extremely nostalgic just looking at the character portraits that would also appear in the game. I love this game and I don't understand a single freaking thing. I think at some point one of the characters betrays you. I still remember some stuff like that. I love the moves. Like, it was like a tactics kind of game. You had like a grid system, you move your characters around, and then you go into a combat and you could like boost, and you have like this sound effect of like boosting. It is so freaking cool. I still remember the shots, the sound effects of it, and I played this so often. Like I said, I finished this game so often without understanding a single word of it. That is playing a game to death. Number 5. Vigilante 8. On the N64. I played it on the N64. I never even knew. I think it existed on PlayStation as well. You have Vigilante 8 and Vigilante 8 2 Second Offense. This is technically a better game, but I have less nostalgia for it because I only played this a couple of times at my neighbor's place, and afterwards I just needed to own it. They upgraded it. You could fly. You could have Back to the Future hovercraft vehicles in this, and that is super awesome. But the original Vigilante 8, you had, I think, 8 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess that makes sense. And like a hidden UFO. And you would just drive. It's vehicle combat. You had an arena. You could race through Las Vegas, through the desert. You could race between buildings and cities, snowy mountains with a bus, with a jeep. My preferred character was always the Manta. I think it was called the Manta. But I think his name was Sid Burn, like really original kind of shit, you know. And everybody could like pick up rockets. You could combine rockets. You had super moves. You could use turbo boost with the rockets instead. Machine guns. Everybody had their own special move. And me and my younger brother played this on a daily basis for years. We loved playing this. When you played single player mode, you could even go inside your car. You saw a steering wheel with each character's individual hands. That blew my mind back then. There's actual 3D racing. Remember, the N64 is when the 3D era only started. So an arena game where you could just shoot each other in awesome looking cars. You had like these farmlands. Just, I love just, you know, you went around the corner and then you shot rockets and shit, and your brother races, jumps over you and shit. It was non-stop action packed. It reminded me of things like the A-Team, but you were playing it. So freaking awesome. I talk with such enthusiasm because I just love Vigilante 8, and I miss vehicle arena games. Bring something back. Twisted Metal, Vigilante 8, I don't care. I miss games like this. On number 4, The Addams Family, based on the original movie with Raul Julia and Angelica Houston. Best Morticia and Gomez ever. I don't care what anybody says, this was the greatest Addams Family movie. I love this shit. And the game is really good. It has somewhat of a chibi vibe to it, where certain things look a little bit cute, like your main character Gomez. Later on in the game you have paintings that look a little bit more realistic, but the enemies, the judge is the final boss, so it looks kind of scary but cute. It's a really weird mix, but I loved as a kid how free you were to explore this game. You could explore the mansion. You started in the mansion, you could go outside of the mansion. You had the gardens, you had the fiery pits, the kitchen. There were all these consoles, and the armory. There were so many cool areas and incredible secrets, invisible doors. You could go on top of the house, you could go into the chimney, you could walk through the graveyard, go inside the graves. There were so many awesome secrets, and I love the atmosphere of this. First of all, Addams Family, I mean, come on. But besides that, the boss fights were fun, the gameplay was fun. You could have different weapons like golf balls and rapiers and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, great boss fight. Again, I like sound effects. I paid huge attention to sound effects in the game, and they killed me in this. Plus with the style and especially the freedom that you had in this game to just explore this world of the Addams Family. The music, I still hear this music today. Absolutely fucking love this game so much. I've been looking for an excuse to talk about this, and here we are. A definite game that I played to death. Very fittingly so. Third place. And it might not seem as obscure, but it really is. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles on the Gamecube. And I'm not gonna lie when I say this, this has always been one of my favorite Final Fantasies ever. I love this shit. I look forward to the remaster. One thing that I'm not looking forward to is all these people that all of a sudden pretend it was the greatest game ever. Nobody cared about this game in the past. Everybody judged the Gamecube for not getting real Final Fantasies, for getting Crystal Chronicles, but I love this game. It looks incredible. It has some of the greatest music in any video game. The soundtrack is not even a kidding. The soundtrack is the reason why I play this game so much.
They say that wicked creatures prowl the road along this beautiful riverbank, but nobody's ever seen one. I once asked a man why. He simply replied, because anybody who happens upon one is promptly eaten. But it is long since anyone has met such a fate. For nowadays, people take another route, far away from the spooky old road. Only we walk the old way now, travelers in crystal caravans.
Now it was made kind of for 4 players, and I hated that because not only was it kind of made for 4 players, it was super jank. You had to have 4 connection Game Boy Advance cables, 4 Game Boy Advance in order to play this. I never played this with anybody. I'm hoping that the new game will kind of have online so I can play it a bit more the way it was meant to, because you could, for example, do a fire spell and then you hold the button and you decide where the fire goes. The other person could also do fire. On your fire you get fire, a better magic. You could have a holy effect and then you put like a whatever magic on top of it, a cure or whatever, and it creates gravity effect. You could mix magic so cool. I was meant to play together, but I played it by myself a lot. I loved how you were able to create your own character in this game. You could have one of the 4 races, unique races they created for this game that we really need back. Like, these races were like really cool. I forgot the names of them really. The Clavets and shit. I love Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. This version, I'm not a big fan of the thing they made on the Wii. I like the character design. The game looked incredible. It was such a fantasy fairy tale vibe.
Long ago, the 4 tribes once lived together in a glorious age of prosperity. But such days have long since faded from memory. There was no miasma, nor any monsters. The world was pleasant until darkness came and choked the northern skies. They say that the golden age is gone, never to return. But I believe that we can somehow bring it back. I must believe, if I am to carry on.
To the story you created and the memories you made and how the memories came back at the end. It was so good, and like I said, the music, the soundtrack of this is god tier, and I played this so much over and over, trying out different levels, even if it was just to hear the soundtrack and to enjoy the gameplay of it. Second place, The Simpsons. I'm a big Simpsons fan. I love The Simpsons, and The Simpsons Hit and Run. Again, I played it on the Gamecube. I think it might be multiplat, I'm not sure. I'm never sure with the Gamecube when something was multiplayer or not, because the Gamecube simply got a lot of the games that everybody got. But the Simpsons Hit and Run is god tier in vehicle games, god tier in platforming games, god tier in exploration games. When I'm gonna talk about this though, you know, when do you get to talk about this? The Simpsons Hit and Run, I love, as a Simpsons fan, I loved how you could walk around through Springfield, the power plant, the houses. There were so many areas, and almost everything was a nod to a certain episode or a little thing. There were so many Easter eggs hidden. You could play with several different characters. You could meet almost every character. Almost every vehicle from this was from an episode of The Simpsons. The catchphrases, you had the Itchy and Scratchy episodes. You could drive your vehicle, you pick up somebody like groundskeeper Willie, you race him to the power plant, you get out of your car, you walk through the power plant. It was so open, all the locations from the game, and the vehicle stuff was so much fun. I loved racing in this game, racing around, looking at Springfield in 3D for the first time, being able to go where I go, and everything felt so like dedicated. Everything felt like fans made it to make it look exactly like it was supposed to look, and it's just such an incredible masterpiece of a game, whether it's just because of the vehicle driving or the platforming, just all the little nods to the episode. I love just driving around this game, walking around, the original voice cast, all the little nods, like I said, to the episode. I just, as a Simpsons fan, I just played this all the time, and I just had so much fun with this game. And on number 1, this game is on first place, I think because it gave me a lot of immersion to it. And it's definitely not the best game on the list, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Army Men, Sarge's Heroes. I played this single player, multiplayer, to death with everyone. Me and younger brother, we used to love just going into arenas, fighting against each other, because you were little plastic toy soldiers. And I say this often, I don't know what it's called, the scaling effect, when something really small is standing against something really big. And I remember you were tiny plastic soldiers playing in living rooms, and you had this really cool little dive thing, and you could roll around on the floor, you could take your weapon and aim at your opponent in first person. You know, people would walk around, it was mostly in third person as well. I love the variety in the gameplay to this, and I had never seen anything like it. Now, this game, Army Men, was originally created because to avoid the German censorship. Germans were really harsh on game censorship back in the day. Even now, kinda still. They let go a little bit, but it was bad back in the day. Pro Protector, for example, in Europe, was Contra in America. They changed soldiers for robots. You couldn't have Ninja in the title, and these people just wanted to create a shooting game, like an army little game, without having to deal with that censorship. So they created toy soldiers, and it worked. And it's so much fun. I remember these single player missions, like going through the snow, really calm, walking around, seeing like a guard tower, like a toy guard tower, and you take your sniper to aim him out, all sneaking and that kind of stuff. I like the dark humor in this game, where the evil soldiers would take a magnifying glass to just, with the sun, burn other toys to death. It was kind of brutal. And the single player campaign, it just had me hooked. And then on top of that, you had this incredible multiplayer mode in it. And I played this so often over my break. You can see some of the screenshots in the back, like where you're like in the kitchen and everything, and the multiplayer stuff. It was so much fun. Like I said, with my friends, especially with my younger brother, we played the multiplayer to death. And the single player, I don't know, there was something about this. Maybe it was at the age that I played it as a kid, you know, as a teen. Just, it was really immersive. Again, maybe it's the start of that 3D era, when you played something like this, when you were still halfway into toys and that kind of stuff. It was so much fun to play. And I played the single campaign over and over and over and over again. And every day, me and my brother, we would put this game in and just put the multiplayer of this was just so much fun and original, and we loved it. Definitely a game I played with that. And that was my top 10. My top 10 obscure games that I played to death. Let me know if you think some of these games aren't really that obscure. Let me know some obscure random ass games that you played to death. And I'm going to tag 3 people. Clock them. Lizard T, Terminator Juice. Terminator, I want to know some kind of weird ass games you used to play. just like Clocked and Mr. T, because I know you played a bunch of shit, make me video responses. Let me know. Show me your games. Like I said, you have to own it. If somebody mentioned it here and there, you can't use it. If you've mentioned it before, you can't use it. That's the fun about this. I want to discover random ass new games that people just don't talk about a lot. And I hope for you, my video did that today. If you liked what you saw now and think you might enjoy my content in the future as well, please subscribe. And as always, stay real.